Hey, good morning, sports bettors. Matt Modi here with OddsJam. In this video, what I'm going to be doing is locking in some NFL player props. We have Thursday night football tonight between the Commanders versus the Bears. Incredibly exciting game. Over under all the way up at 37.5, not even projecting both teams to score 20 points. Just a very exciting game. But we can still bet on it. We can still make some money. So let's go ahead and do that. So for this video, I have two sharp, no-brainer player props for Thursday night football to lock in tonight. Of course, using OddsJam to find all of these sharp plays is where I know I'm gaining an edge over the sportsbook by using OddsJam, using the positive expected value page. An unfortunate reality of sports betting is that sportsbooks have the edge over their users. They charge a vig. They essentially price up the odds. They quote unquote tax them higher than what they truly think the market should be priced at. And that's how they make their money. They take advantage, they make their margins on the VIG. So what OddsJam does, which is really cool, is it takes into account all of the different sharp sportsbooks, and they collected this data to determine what the sharp sportsbooks are. And then they remove the VIG from those sharp sportsbooks using a weighted average to calculate the no VIG odds. So anywhere you see no VIG odds here, that is what that means. It's a weighted average from all of the different sharp sportsbooks. Another thing that's cool is all these filters just makes it really easy to filters if you're looking for something specifically. I knew I wanted to bet NFL player props today, so that's exactly what I did. I just filtered for NFL player props today. So there's a couple here that I really like, and we can start off with this David Montgomery one over 2.5 receptions plus 135 on Tipico. Now, I would say that this should be worth a half of a unit play. I would like to put $50 on this one. But Tipico has me limited. I'm guessing they won't even let me get 15, but we can see normally the limit they let me get is $10. So that's what I'll be able to get on this. But for those of you at home who, not even $10, for those of you at home who is tailing me on this David Montgomery over 2.5 receptions pick, there you go. It should be for half of a unit. They just won't let me get it. So let me add this to my bet tracker. Tracking your bets is very important. It's also very easy to do. You just click the play that you're adding, add it to your bet tracker, and you're good to go. So let's chat about this one. The odds on Tipico are at plus 135. The OddsJam no VIG line prices this at about plus 133, plus 134 if you want to round up. So the gap between these two numbers, that is where you get your positive expected value from. That is where your edge comes into play. The gap between the no VIG line and the line that you're betting it at. The OddsJam line, the perfect line, take into account all the different sharp sports books, says this should be priced at plus 133, plus 134. Tipico is offering it at plus 135. Another thing that I like to do is just look at where every other sportsbook is pricing a play. Tipico, again, plus 135. Pinnacle, plus 118. Sharpest sportsbook in the world. Bet Online, another sharp sportsbook, plus 115. Then every other book prices it closest, looking like plus 128, but mostly 10 to 15 cents lower than what Tipico has it at. So betting on these outliers is something that is profitable in the long run. It's also a really key point of when you are positive expected value betting. You want to look for outliers. You want to take advantage of books, that have mispriced lines. And then in terms of the actual handicapping perspective, I actually really like this one from a football perspective. I think with the total as low as this game and with the passing props as low as they are for these two quarterbacks, NFL was very clearly expecting an incredibly low scoring game. The Justin Fields over under passing yards is 167. His over under passing attempts is 23.5. I like both of those to go over. And looking at David Montgomery specifically, so he's played in three games so far. He missed one, and then one game he left early for an injury. So really, we can just count on the last 3 games. Week 1, this is week 2. Week 3 is when he got hurt. He missed week 4. Then last week, week 5. In games where they're passing it a decent amount, David Montgomery gets receptions. I think this is going to be a game in which they're passing a decent amount. So I think he's going to go over this 2.5 reception number, and it's plus 135. So if you want to look at this type of historical data, it's the OddsJam Props app, downloadable on any iOS device. So iPhone, iPad, Mac, desktop, wherever, you can download the OddsJam Props app. The link to it is also in the description of the video. So make sure to check that out. But my first play, David Montgomery over 2.5 receptions. The next one that I like, we're also looking at a running backs receiving prop but in this case, we are taking J.D. McKissic to go under 21.5 receiving yards plus 104 on Caesars. So they don't have me limited. So I will be able to get the full half of a unit play on this one. J.D. McKissic under 21.5 receiving yards plus 104 on Caesars. Let me just add this one to my bet tracker, click save, and we are good to go. So this one, the logic of why I like it is the exact same. The no-vig line prices this at about plus 103.7. We can get it on Caesars at plus 104. So again, the gap between those two numbers is where you get your edge. And also, look at where these other sportsbooks price it, right? Plus 104 on Caesars. No book is even offering this for even minus 105. The closest book is DraftKings at minus 110. And that's the closest. So BetMGM minus 110. Pinnacle, sharpest sportsbook in the world, minus 111. BetOnline, another sharp sportsbook, BetOnline. Then you have sportsbooks like BetRivers that actually favor the under. They think that it's more likely that he goes under this receiving yardage prop, and we can get it at plus 104 on Caesar. So another example of just a really nice outlier, sharp betting opportunity that you can take advantage of using OddsJam. So these are going to be my two plays. David Montgomery over 2.5 receptions, plus 135 on Tipico. J.D. McKissic under 21.5 receiving yards, plus 104 on Caesars. So that's going to be it. If you're tailing these bets, let me know. Would love to hear it. Comment on the video. Let me know you're tailing. And the last thing I'll say is that I'll be going live before this game at about 7:30 Eastern. So make sure to check that out as well for any last minute bets. Odds are constantly changing. So see if we can lock in some last minute bets. So make sure to tune in to that as well. But that's it. So I appreciate you guys watching and have a good one.